This is why things start to feel draining, not because the situation is inherently bad, but because it no longer matches you. Now here's something to really think about. Have you ever noticed how, once you feel that shift, you can't fully go back? You can try. You can act the same, respond the same, show up the same, but something feels off. Because awareness changes your relationship with everything. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. And this is the exact moment most people ignore. Not because they don't recognize it, but because they don't want what it implies. Because if you admit that something has stopped growing, then you have to face what comes next. And what comes next is letting go. So instead, you negotiate. You try to recreate what used to exist. You try to revive the old energy. You try to convince yourself it's still there. But here's the truth. You cannot grow something that has already completed its purpose. You can maintain it. You can extend it. You can delay the ending. But you cannot make it evolve again if the alignment is gone. Now pause again and be honest with yourself. Where in your life are you trying to revive something, instead of recognizing that it's already complete? Because completion doesn't always look like destruction. Sometimes it looks like stillness. Sometimes it looks like repetition. Sometimes it looks like nothing changing, no matter how much effort you apply. And that's where clarity actually lives. Not in chaos, but in stagnation. Because stagnation is not neutral. Stagnation is a signal that growth has already moved elsewhere, and now you're being invited to follow it. But here's where it becomes uncomfortable. Because even when something is over internally, it often still exists externally. You still have the job, you're still in the relationship, you're still in the environment. So logically, you tell yourself, if it's still here, it must not be over. But energetically, you feel the truth. And this creates one of the most important questions in this entire journey. If it's already over within you, why does it still exist around you? Why hasn't it ended? Why hasn't it disappeared? Why are you still in it? This is where most people misunderstand how change actually happens. Because life doesn't remove things the moment they become misaligned. It gives you a window, a space between awareness and action. A moment where you can choose to release or choose to stay. And what you do in that space determines everything. Because if you act on the awareness, transition becomes smooth, aligned, intentional, clean. But if you ignore it, that's when friction begins to build. That's when things start to feel heavier, more complicated, more emotionally charged. Not because life is punishing you, but because you're resisting the shift that has already begun. And the longer you resist, the louder the signals become, until eventually they're impossible to ignore. But it doesn't have to reach that point, because right now, you're in the moment that matters most, the moment of recognition, the moment where you can say, I see it, I feel it. I know this has stopped growing. And instead of waiting for confirmation, you trust the awareness itself. Because that awareness, that is the confirmation. And once you begin to trust that, everything starts to change. You stop waiting for endings. You start recognizing them. You stop needing collapse. You start moving with clarity. And most importantly, you stop holding on to things that have already completed their role in your life. Which brings us back to the core truth of this entire journey. Letting go is not something you do randomly. It's something you do when you recognize that something is already over. Not visibly, but energetically. And once you see that clearly, holding on no longer feels like loyalty. It feels like resistance. You've now seen the moment. Not the dramatic ending, but the quiet internal shift where growth stopped and awareness began. You've recognized that clarity was never missing, it was just ignored.